The old Blackwood School stood silhouetted against the bruised purple sky, a skeletal monument to forgotten lessons and whispered nightmares. For decades, it had been abandoned, a place shunned by the townsfolk, a repository of chilling tales passed down through generations. Whispers of a shadowy figure, of unexplained scratching sounds, and of candles inexplicably extinguished had transformed the school from a place of learning into a locus of fear. Now, these whispers had reached us, a team of paranormal investigators, drawn to Blackwood like moths to a flickering, dangerous flame. My name is Dr. Alastair Reed, and I've dedicated my life to unraveling the enigmas that lie just beyond the veil of our perceived reality. With me were Sarah, our tech specialist, a pragmatic woman armed with an arsenal of recording equipment and sensors, and Ben, our resident skeptic, a former police officer who demanded concrete evidence before even considering the possibility of the paranormal. As we approached the wrought iron gates, a gust of wind swept through the grounds, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and decay. The temperature seemed to drop noticeably, sending a shiver down my spine despite the multiple layers I was wearing. Ben, ever the pragmatist, adjusted his collar and muttered something about the faulty weather forecast. Sarah, however, was already setting up her EMF reader, her eyes scanning the decaying facade of the school. Act 1. Introduction Setup. The Blackwood School's history was as bleak as its current state. Built in the late 1800s, it served as the primary educational institution for the surrounding rural community. However, a series of tragic events, culminating in the mysterious disappearance of a young student named Emily Carter in 1952, led to its eventual closure. Emily's disappearance was never solved, and the school remained empty, a silent testament to the tragedy. Locals spoke of Emily's ghost wandering the halls, forever searching for a way home. The initial reports of paranormal activity started subtly, flickering lights, strange noises in the night. But as time went on, the phenomena grew more intense, more malevolent. Witnesses described seeing a shadowy figure lurking in the windows, its presence accompanied by a bone-chilling cold. The scratching sounds, seemingly emanating from within the walls, were said to be relentless, driving people to the brink of madness. And the candles, placed as makeshift tributes or desperate attempts at dispelling the darkness, were invariably extinguished, as if by an unseen hand. We stepped through the creaking gates, the sound echoing eerily in the stillness of the night. The overgrown courtyard was littered with fallen leaves and debris, a testament to years of neglect. The air hung heavy with anticipation, a palpable sense of unease that settled deep in my bones. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, that unseen eyes were observing our every move. Act 2. Investigation Escalation. Inside the school, the atmosphere was even more oppressive. The air was thick with dust and the smell of mildew. Moonlight filtered through the shattered windows, casting long, distorted shadows that danced across the walls. Sarah immediately began setting up her equipment, placing temperature sensors and motion detectors in strategic locations throughout the building. Ben, armed with his flashlight, meticulously examined each room, searching for any signs of forced entry or natural explanations for the reported phenomena. I focused on the old main hall, the heart of the school. It was here, according to the reports, that the most intense paranormal activity occurred. As I stood in the center of the room, a sudden drop in temperature sent a shiver down my spine. My EMF reader, which had been relatively stable, suddenly spiked, its needle jumping erratically. I felt a presence, a cold, heavy weight pressing down on me. "Did you feel that?" I asked, turning to Sarah, who was monitoring her equipment. "Temperature just dropped 5 degrees in here," she confirmed, her eyes wide with concern. "And the EMF readings are off the charts." Suddenly, a series of loud scratching sounds erupted from within the walls. The sound was raw, guttural, as if something was desperately trying to claw its way out. Ben rushed into the room, his flashlight beam darting around, searching for the source of the noise. Rats, he declared dismissively, but even he seemed unnerved by the intensity of the sound. We continued our investigation, moving from room to room, each one more unsettling than the last. In one classroom, we found a circle of salt drawn on the floor, a clear indication that someone else had been here, attempting to ward off whatever malevolent force resided within the school. In another, we discovered a child's drawing depicting a shadowy figure with glowing red eyes, its outstretched hands reaching towards a small girl. As the night wore on, the paranormal activity escalated. Doors slammed shut on their own, objects moved inexplicably, and the scratching sounds grew louder, more insistent, as if whatever was making them was growing closer. At one point, while reviewing footage from a static camera placed in the main hall, Sarah noticed a fleeting shadow move across the screen. It was just a glimpse, a momentary flicker, but it was enough to send a chill down our spines. The shadow was humanoid in shape, but its features were indistinct, its form shifting and wavering. "That's it," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "That's the shadowy figure they've been reporting." Ben, despite his skepticism, was starting to look uneasy. The sheer volume of evidence, the undeniable intensity of the paranormal activity was beginning to chip away at his rational explanations. Act 3, Revelation, Climax. The climax of the night came in the old library, a vast, cavernous room filled with rows upon rows of decaying books. We had been drawn to the library by a series of strange occurrences, whispers that seemed to emanate from the bookshelves, the scent of lavender that hung in the air despite the absence of any flowers. As we entered the library, the temperature plummeted dramatically. The air grew thick and heavy, making it difficult to breathe. A low, guttural moan echoed through the room, seemingly coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Suddenly, a figure materialized before us. It was Emily Carter, the young girl who had disappeared from the school so many years ago. Her spectral form was translucent, shimmering in the moonlight. Her eyes were filled with a profound sadness, a desperate plea for help. "Help me," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "He's still here." Before we could react, a dark, shadowy figure emerged from the shadows. It was the same figure we had seen in the security footage, but now it was corporeal, its form solid and menacing. Its eyes glowed with an infernal red light, and its outstretched hands dripped with an unseen viscous fluid. The figure lunged towards Emily, its touch sending a ripple of pain across her spectral form. We were paralyzed with fear, unable to move, unable to speak. But then, Ben, acting on instinct, grabbed a nearby book, an old leather-bound Bible, and hurled it at the shadowy figure. The book struck the figure with a resounding thud, momentarily disrupting its form. The figure recoiled, hissing in pain and frustration. Emily seized the opportunity, her spectral form flickering and fading. "He's been trapped here for years," she whispered, her voice growing fainter. "He feeds on the fear and suffering of others. You must stop him." With a final, desperate plea, Emily vanished, leaving us alone with the shadowy figure. Act 4, Aftermath Reflection. The ensuing confrontation was a blur of terror and adrenaline. We fought back with everything we had, our knowledge of the paranormal, our scientific instruments, and our sheer will to survive. Sarah used her EMF reader to disrupt the figure's energy field, while I recited ancient incantations, hoping to banish it back to whatever dark dimension it had crawled from. Ben, armed with a crucifix he had retrieved from his car, stood as a shield, his presence a bulwark against the encroaching darkness. Finally, After what seemed like an eternity, the shadowy figure began to weaken. Its form flickered and faded, its red eyes dimming. With a final, agonizing scream, it dissolved into nothingness, leaving behind only the lingering scent of sulfur and the chilling memory of its presence. The Blackwood School remained silent, the oppressive atmosphere lifting like a shroud. The paranormal activity ceased, the scratching sounds silenced, the candles burning brightly. We had done it. We had confronted the darkness and emerged victorious. As we left the school, the first rays of dawn painting the sky with hues of pink and gold, I couldn't help but feel a sense of profound relief. But I also knew that our work was far from over. The world is full of mysteries, of unseen forces that lie just beyond our perception, and it is our duty as paranormal investigators to continue to explore these mysteries, to shed light on the darkness, and to protect the innocent from the terrors that lurk in the shadows. The events at Blackwood School would forever be etched in my memory. The power of the paranormal and the importance of confronting our fears. We left the school behind, but it and Emily would never leave us.